Here we go again. It wasn't that long since the last live-action Disney remake, so hopefully this one won't be as bad as Dumbo. Hopefully. Hey everyone, it's Alex the Real Mr. Robinson, and this is my review for the 2019 version of Aladdin. This one's being directed by Guy Ritchie, and you might know him as the director of movies like Sherlock Holmes, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and his last movie, King Arthur. Yay! But anyway, this is Disney's live-action remake of 1992's Aladdin. It pretty much follows the same plot about a street rat named Aladdin and his monkey Abu, who meet Princess Jasmine. He gets sucked into the Cave of Wonders, where he encounters a lamp and finds a genie. He tries to win the princess's heart, while the Sultan's advisor Jafar wants the lamp for himself so he can just have all the power. If you've seen the Disney movie, then you know the plot to this. And that's the thing about this movie in particular. I was not looking forward to it. Out of all the live-action Disney remakes, this and The Lion King were the ones I was not enthusiastic about. Mainly Aladdin, because I just mentioned Guy Ritchie's last movie, but also because the original is a classic. It is my absolute favorite Disney movie of all time. It's in my top 30 movies, period. I just talked about it a couple months ago, but I think it's perfection in terms of animation, songs, characters. Robin Williams is just iconic in this movie as the genie. And I like to go into new movies with an open mind, even ones that I'm skeptical on. But with this movie, I from the beginning was just like, blasphemy! You cannot remake this movie! You can't! But I gave it a chance. As I always do, because, hey, you never know. I always say this, ever since the original Lego movie, anything's possible. Anything could be good. So I went into this open-minded, but did have some skepticism because, again, Aladdin is so close to my heart that I came in with baggage. But I gotta say, as soon as the movie was done, credits started rolling, walked out of the movie and came back here, thought it was pretty good. You guys thought I was gonna say it sucked, didn't you? Well, I'm just as surprised as anyone that I enjoyed this. Now, let me first say that I don't love this movie. Aladdin for me is the definition of a roller coaster. And I don't mean in the sense like you would describe another summer blockbuster where it's so thrilling and you're just having a ton of fun on it. No, what I mean by this movie is a roller coaster is that it has a lot of ups and a lot of downs. Throughout a lot of this movie, I was just sitting there going, oh, I like this. I don't like this too much. Oh, that's different. That's different from the animated movie. Oh, this is exactly like the animated movie. Okay, this is spectacular. This is just so low on energy. So I just went back and forth with this movie for so long. But let's actually get into why I like this movie, because I have more positive feelings than I do negatives. For one, it's not a complete rehash of the original Disney movie. There are a couple moments throughout where they actually expand on the story. For example, there are a lot more scenes and more time dedicated to Aladdin and Jasmine getting to know each other. Even at the beginning of the movie feels very rushed, and it just feels like you missed something. Although I feel like that was Guy Ritchie and everyone else going, well, people who've seen this already know the original version, so we could just hop right into it. And I'm like, no, it's best to just tell it as a new story. So the opening was rushed, but I felt like the dynamic between Aladdin and Jasmine was more explored here than it was in the animated movie. And I thought the two actors, Mena Massoud, who plays Aladdin, and Naomi Scott, who plays Jasmine, thought they had really good chemistry together. And I've never seen Mena Massoud before, but I thought he was good. I don't think he has the same charisma that the voice actor of the original Aladdin did, but still, there were a lot of points in this movie where he was good, but then there are also a few points where he just kinda lacked charisma. But when you get to Naomi Scott, she is very good as Princess Jasmine, and she is just absolutely gorgeous in this entire movie. And the costumes definitely helped show off her beauty. And there's an original song that Naomi Scott performs called Speechless. It wasn't in the original Aladdin. And when you listen to it, it's like, yeah, this feels very much like Let It Go from Frozen. It has a very strong feminist message in there. But you know what? it's a damn good song. And it's one of the big things that I appreciate this movie doing, making itself slightly different from the original Disney film. There are just a lot of scenarios in this movie that, quite frankly, surprised me in that I didn't expect them, whether they were different takes on scenes from the original Disney movie, or they were just new scenes altogether. Not all of them worked out. There were a few moments in this movie that weren't in the original that just feel very awkward. There's a scene in this movie that takes place right after the big Prince Ali number, get back to that a little later, that I cringed throughout the whole thing. And maybe it was supposed to be awkward, but I just didn't enjoy watching it. Now let's talk about Will Smith, because one of the big things that people were concerned about was how he was going to be as the Genie, because the first time we ever saw Will Smith as the Genie just didn't look good. And there were a few points in this movie where he is just so animated that he comes across as fake, and there were points where I was thinking about Shrek, and I gotta say, screw you to the internet for all those hilarious Photoshop memes of the Genie. Because of this picture right here, there were moments where I just could not get Shrek out of my mind. Okay, back in serious mode. The other reason people were hesitant is because Robin Williams is iconic as the Genie in the original movie, as I mentioned before. Robin Williams' Genie has often been imitated, but never duplicated, as he says in the original movie. So there was no way you could even come close to what Robin Williams brought to the table. And I think Guy Ritchie and Disney were smart enough to know that as well, because, again, you'd be dumb to try to replicate what Robin Williams did, which is why you got Will Smith, who I think does a good job. He's not great, again, he's just playing Will Smith, but he brings his own charm to the Genie because Will Smith is just naturally charming. And he has good chemistry with Aladdin, although there were a few points in the middle of the movie where it just turned into the Arabian version of Hitch. And, I mean, Hitch is a good movie, but it definitely feels like that. Now, what about Jafar? In this movie, he's played by Marwan Kenzari. I honestly don't have that much to say about Jafar. His character and motivations are pretty much level to what Jafar was in the original Disney movie, except they add in a little more detail to why he has his motivations. But I just didn't find him to be an improvement or on the level, and a lot of it has to do with the actor's voice. It's not anything personal against this actor, because, hey, we all have our own voices, but I just never really pictured him as menacing. I never saw Jafar in this movie as a threat. And I also thought it was a waste of Alan Tudyk to have him voice Iago, considering that Iago doesn't talk constantly like he did in the original movie. He just was a regular parrot. I mean, Alan Tudyk got a paycheck, but it seemed kind of pointless. He could have hired anyone. Now, what about the songs? Because Aladdin has some of the most iconic songs in Disney's catalog, and my personal favorites. Well, they're a mixed bag. I already talked about the new song, Speechless, which is fantastic. But what about the ones everyone remembers? What about One Step Ahead? What about Friend Like Me? What about Prince Ali? What about A Whole New World? Well, One Step Ahead is pretty much as it was in the Disney movie. Friend and Me still maintains the same level of energy, and the lyrics are different enough to match Will Smith and just the situation the story is in. Prince Ali was so disappointing, and it really didn't help that they released a clip before the movie came out where, I don't remember who said it, but it looks like a Disneyland parade. It just lacks so much energy, and I wasn't impressed. And A Whole New World is good as well. In terms of visuals and the overall performance, the animated version did it better, obviously. But with this version, it's still good, and it really helps that Naomi Scott has an incredible singing voice. And A Whole New World is just an iconic song to begin with. There's a reason why it's an Academy Award-winning song. So I really don't have much else to say about this new version of Aladdin. I enjoyed it. I definitely had some other issues. For example, I did think it went on for a little too long. I thought there was a pointless subplot between the Genie and Jasmine's friend slash handmaiden that ultimately goes nowhere and doesn't really feed into the story outside of comedy. But on the whole, I felt good walking out of this movie. I definitely felt more enthusiastic about this than I did Beauty and the Beast, because that one was really a copy and paste of the original Disney movie, and anything it tried to do different resulted in plot holes. Whereas this one actually has a lot of different elements to it that could make it pass as its own thing. So I'd say it's good. It's definitely not great. If you're going to see this movie, do not go into it trying to hold it to the same standards as the Disney animated movie, because it's not going to match it. Just look at it as its own thing, and I think you'll enjoy it a lot. And that's my review for the live-action Aladdin. Now, for longtime viewers who want to point this out, yes, I did give the same rating to Beauty and the Beast when it came out, but I definitely had time to think about that movie and realize it's not so good. Will the same thing happen with Aladdin? It could, but for right now, I'm just going to enjoy it and say that it was good. I felt more positive about this than I did walking out of Beauty and the Beast. But now I want to know what you guys think about this movie. If you've seen this new version of Aladdin, what did you think? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What were your thoughts going into this movie versus when you walked out? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and of course leave a comment. Don't forget to support my Patreon page, follow me on social media, and until next time, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one.